Hey, alright, so this will be the intro, part the fourth, magic. I actually lied in between getting the videos uploaded and stuff. I think I'm going to do magic all on its own, possibly, we'll see, and then maybe a wrap up with some miscellaneous and the appendices and a couple of quick quotes that I'd like to leave you guys with about just the game and gaming in general, just some thoughts. So, magic in this game. I told you it's incredibly powerful, it's incredibly dangerous. It is unpredictable. It is uncontrollable. But that is what magic should be. Sorry, kids creeping around. So the magic section of the book is over 200 pages long. Yes, 200 pages long of what is almost a 500-page book. Over 200 of that is the magic section alone. There's over 80 wizard and elf spells, and over, I think, around 40 or so cleric spells. It may or may not seem like a lot based on where you're coming from, but once we get into this and you see how spells work, you'll understand you don't need a lot of spells in this game to do a lot of damage quickly. So where do we start? So yeah, there's spells. They start with 4 for a wizard and a cleric, 3 for an elf. These can cast off scrolls. They're traditionally randomly determined, and there are a few things about casting spells. So spell casting is it's a basic check like anything else. We talked about it a little bit. It's a D20 plus your character level, plus a personality for clerics and intelligence for wizards and elves. And then the elves can do the luck thing with the one spell. And so you're doing your checks, and there comes a time when you need magic to really work. You need to be guaranteed the spell's going to go off. Welcome to Spellburn. Spellburn allows you to burn points of strength, agility, and stamina. 1 point of those, any one of those, gives you a +1 to the spell check. There is no limit to how many you can burn in one casting. If you want to burn a shit ton of points, 10 points, 11 points, 12 points in one casting, that's on you. It's up to you how bad you need the spell to go off. So the spell burn is regained slowly. It's basically 1 point per level. You can regain it slowly over time, and you can speed that up and slow it down. There's some notes about playtesting, people were misusing the cleric or misrepresenting what the cleric was intended there for, because the cleric can heal the missing attributes. It's not what it's there for. So if you do spell burns, but you go 20 points in one block, that is considered a natural 20 on the spell check for that spell. If you're going to get rid of that many at one time, they are going to reward you. That is a natural 20, and you are going to have great consequences for that spell, and not bad consequences. You're going to be a sickly, unagile fuck, but you may have saved the day. Well, let's see. Clerics can only use Spellburn when it would be appropriate, not just willy-nilly, like, oh, sweet Jesus, I really need to detect evil. No. It needs to be appropriate, in line with your alignment, your deity, and the ethos of your faith. And again, that's all through role-playing and adjudication, through the game master, or the judge, as they call it. So when you do learn a spell, a new spell, you discovered a spell and you're trying to learn it, and you're going through the process of seeing if you can learn the spell, they have what they call mercurial magic. So magic functions differently for everybody, and there are different effects for everybody. So when you learn the spell, you roll in this chart. It's a D100 plus your luck bonus converted into a 10%, right? So a 1 is 10, a 2 is 20, and so on and so forth. You roll, the higher you roll, obviously, the less crazy the results. But that is how the spell manifests when you cast it. And you'll see in the actual spells, there's a manifestation. It's probably a bad word to have used in this, but the mercurial magic is how your spell works, and then there's a manifestation effect. which is ideally your choice, not a random result. So you may cast a spell. When you cast Magic Missile, you may turn into a cloud of vapor for 1 round. Yeah, that's a possibility. Every time you cast Magic Missile, for 1 round, your ass is a gas cloud floating around the dungeon. It can be fun. It can be. Sometimes you'll roll it and you're just like, oh my god, I just fucking never casting this spell ever. But it's again something you should sit down and talk to the judge, the dungeon master with, and about, and say, hey, come on, this is not going to be fun. This is over the top, and you hash that out. There's also corruption on a spell. So if you roll a natural 1 on a spell, you have the potential of gaining corruption. There's minor, major, and greater. There's also spell-directed corruption. At the end of this, we'll pick out a spell, a 1st level and maybe a 5th level spell, and we'll go through and I'll list out some of the things. See, so you have tables for the corruption, or the spell itself will have a list of items and how you get corrupted when you have failed to cast a spell properly. You suck at being a wizard for that one moment. Right? So the corruption check is basically, it's going to be a d10 minus the spell level plus your luck modifier, right? And that's how you roll. So it tends to work itself out to where it's not so bad. Maybe I've grown horns. There's actually a really cool picture in the book. It shows a wizard, 6 pictures of the same wizard as he's undergone his. I've been casting spells for a while now, and he starts out as a normal-looking, young, handsome dude. And by that 6th picture, he looks like some kind of fucking nightmare that H.P. Lovecraft dreamed up. It's pretty bad. Could it get that bad? Yeah, it could get that bad. Again, it's all on you. It's how often you use your spells and how bad you suck at utilizing your resources for casting spells. Of course, you always have the ever popular, the fact that the D20 can screw you equally at any time. But yeah, it really is up to you to control your assets and your resources as a wizard or an elf or a cleric, and figure out when and how to cast magic. Shouldn't be willy-nilly. Magic is pretty powerful. It's very dangerous. So let's get into a spell sample. So when you look at the spells, their results are going to be you got a fail. Right there, Flaming Hands, popular spell. Sorry, it's a no shitter AD or D&D spell. Well, I'm just a little bit off today. Long day. So you get the name of the spell, the level, the range, duration, casting time, saving throws that are applicable to it, a general idea of what the spell is about. So the first thing is a manifestation. Now there's a random chart, a little random blurb for manifestation. Ideally, you kind of pick it. You kind of want to get signature spells. Like every time I cast Flaming Hands, fire springs from my fingertips. It's just something stupid, and like skin blackens and peels away and reveals skeletal hands dripping lava. Really cool effects. But it's just like, but when you see that in an enemy caster, those are things to pay attention to, especially as a wizard. You see like smoke start rolling out of this guy. You're like, holy shit, he's about to cast Flaming Hands. And you alert the party and get everyone ready. And maybe enter a spell duel. So the next thing you have is corruption. There's a little, like I said, for the spell itself, there's 4 items, 4 ways of being corrupted. Let's see, hands permanently blackened. See, it's not a big deal. It's going to be interesting for your character to be like, oh, your hand's black. They're non-wizard. Like, oh shit. Let's see, bare touch causes paper to ignite 25% of the time. So there's little things like that you can get that corruption. That's the spell-directed corruption. Like I said, there are other types of corruption that make things could be far worse. Then there's the misfire rolls. So if you were to just roll 1, a natural 1, and you roll up a misfire, and the misfire is going to be flame jets from random appendage, spoiling aim, randomly determined where and in what direction the flame gouts. Right, but it's a small jet of flame that causes a small amount of damage to a certain area. So it's just reduced, and it's not like you're blasting yourself in the face or anything like that. But you can catch fire in this spell. Little things will happen to you. It's just a misfire. The magic has gone off in an unpredictable way. Now, the spell check itself gives you, each spell is a page in and of itself. Let's see if I can get this. That's the book. We'll do copyright violations. Hopefully that came out. I don't know. I'm on the phone still with a hand camera, but each spell has its own page. Some spells go beyond a page, and it lists the results from 1 to 32 plus on the roll, right? So a 1 is lost, the spell is gone. It's a failure, and worse. Roll 1d6 modified by luck. Right, and it tells you a 0 or less is corruption, patron taint, and a misfire. Yes, when you're casting spells and you screw it up bad enough, you can piss your patron off because now you're misrepresenting them on the physical plane. And nobody wants that. No super powerful being wants some asshat running around not knowing how to cast magic. It makes them look bad to the other patrons. So there's corruption, patron taint, or corruption, and a misfire. Let's see, a 2 through 11 for first level spell is lost and a failure. So nothing bad, you just lose the spell for the day. Or you can get it back through luck and all that jazz. 12 to 13, so the range goes on. So the minimal, if you just get it, it's a single blast of fire strikes one target, 1d3 points of damage in the range. No big deal. Say you burn 20 points on a flaming hands. Spell produces a blast of heat that burns up to 3 targets within range for 1d6 plus caster level points of damage. So, okay, all targets within 10 feet of one another. The maximum, at 32, you rolled really well. You got a natural 20 plus a plus 12 on top of that for who knows how. Caster can blast fire in a 360-degree arc outward from their body. Within that complete radius, they can pick one wedge, 0 to 180 degrees, where it does not blast, i.e. protect your allies. Because yes, that doesn't miss your allies mystically. You're bringing something from nothing. All creatures within the affected arc, out to a range of 40 feet, are immolated, taking 4d10 plus caster level in damage. And 4d10 is a lot of damage in this game. Especially, that's a first level spell. Right? And so every spell does that, where they can go up and up and up. And I mean, I told you we would do a 5th level spell, so let me find it good. I have to get about a fourth of the way through the book to get to 5th level wizard spells. The cleric spells are pretty neat. They're not like there's not a lot of combat to a cleric spell. Quite honestly, that's not what clerics are about with their spell use. Their spell use are about furthering the faith, aiding the weak and the innocent. So let's see. No, that's kind of stupid. That one, magic bulwark, mind purge. Replication is where you just make a double. You make a double of yourself. It's kind of hard to dictate because once you get a higher level, your spells stop becoming more combat oriented and start becoming actual wizardry oriented, where you're affecting the greater scheme of things. So that's that for that part of it. We talked about patron taint, so it's every time you cast Invoke Patron, Patron's Bond, or Patron Spells, it is a 1% chance of gaining Patron Taint. And that's cumulative. Every time you cast a patron-oriented spell, that 1% goes up by 1%. And so eventually you're going to get bit in the ass because you're doing it too much. When you do the patron stuff, you're tapping into the raw energies of the being. It's not like magic where you're manipulating the ether around you or whatever it is, the mana, it doesn't matter. This is different. You're tapping into that raw energy straight from that being. Then there's patron spellburn requests, so you can do spellburn for that. The patron may actually, will. So if you say, I need to burn, some ability points here to make this happen. The patron actually has a list of things they may request of you for your spell burn. It's a give and take system. So it tends to make playing a wizard can be extremely exciting, dangerous to everyone around you, sometimes yourself. It depends on where you take it and how much fun you have with it. And that's really the beauty of the system, is to run with it and to go. So if you do play DCC and you're interested remotely in playing a wizard or an elf or a cleric, more so elves and wizards are the real hard ass, dangerous spellcasters in the game. Yeah, you're gonna have a good time with it when you start getting through there and seeing how spells work and how they function and just how potent they can become and where you stand. Learning your, like I said, learning your resources, learning your assets, learning how and when to cast. Yeah, they can go far. And like I said, you don't always lose a spell. So if you cast it, if the spell is successfully cast, it's not lost for the day. It's only if you fail to cast a spell that you lose it. So yeah, at low levels, you're probably going to lose your spells more often than not. That's up to you, you know. So that's it. That's Magic in a nutshell. Like I said, it's over 200 pages full of spells. There's a shit ton of spells in the game, and they're, you know, they actually have guidelines for making your own spells, how to do it and what to look at, and kind of it helps you orient yourself in their thinking and how they've done things. There's a lot to it, right? Because you get to have a lot of results based on the die rolls that you can possibly have for that spell check. But you have a good time with it when you start bringing some of the spells that maybe your favorites from other systems over. You know, have a great time with it. That's, man, you can just add those willy-nilly onesie twosies, right? As your wizard or elf needs to learn a new spell or the thief finds a scroll, that'd be perfect to introduce some rare, random, arcane power into the game. And role-playing wise, it'd be very interesting, you know, if you start adding these unknown spells. But that's it. Later.